I want to talk a little bit about criticism. They obviously do feel a little bit, I think rattled by the criticism that they've received. What do we say? What do we say to that? I mean, the harsh way 20 years ago would have been, get on with it. It's part of the game. Is that still the case, or is there a case of actually a little bit more empathy being needed?
Well, there's elements of that where you do have to, you do have to get on with it, of course. But yeah, but I think a lot of the criticism towards this team has been towards the team.
That fly on you there.
And as you made a point, like football, and I think it's like for footballing reasons. I don't think anyone's gone after. Has anything been really personal, do you think?
No, I don't think so. No. Not like in the past.
What about Harry Maguire? That's personal.
No, Harry Maguire, he's not here, but it was personal against Harry. And you know what? Raheem had it for a bit as well.
Yeah. So they've had that. I think the way Harry has been. If we really think about like the critique of the players, it's the volume in which it comes. That's what it is, right? It's the volume.
Yeah, you're right.
You can't get away from it. I look at Harry Maguire, the memes, the gifts, and I watch how he plays. Everybody makes mistakes. I've not seen Harry Maguire do anything what makes me go, what is going on? How is this guy even playing? What's happened is that people have taken the piss out of this guy so relentlessly that you're genuinely waiting for him to do anything. And now, even if he misplaces something or it doesn't, he's getting hammered. That's the level. It's a totally different level.
I was harsh on Maguire. You try and keep it, again, you hopefully, for footballing reasons, and obviously we do a lot of United matches, he was struggling at United. Obviously, he had a tough time with England, but more so at club level. But also you're on about like the mental health of players. And I definitely crossed the line with Harry Maguire. I definitely was, we done a game one time, and but I used the word, kind of mocked him a little bit about his, and that is definitely...
What did you say?
I think he said something after the game, and I kind of...
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but listen, you cross the line with a player, and you know it's not nice. And I played the game, I know how hard it is. But I'm also big enough, I bumped into Harry a few months ago. And I've
apologized to him in the lift, remember?
Yeah, and I apologised to him. Because sometimes we get it wrong as well, we're pundits, and listen, we'd like to think we set high standards for when we played. But yeah, I agree. I think, there is a point where you go, if it's personal, then you're crossing the line.
One of the big things that I think is with England is that the families all travel, the parents and the girlfriends, wives, sisters,
Can't get away from it,
and they take it really, really badly.
Yeah.
I remember not so much from my parents when I was travelling away with England, but I just used to remember that I'd speak to my dad and he'd say, so-and-so's finding it hard, or so-and-so's finding it hard. They really do find it difficult, this weight of sort of like criticism that comes upon them. You mentioned something, didn't you?
The families, without a doubt. Of course, I think we've all been there. Yeah, listen, when I had obviously big stories about me, particularly when the World Cup and when I left United, and a huge effect on your family, particularly your parents.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've got children. If someone was really critical of my child, I'd be affected. Yeah. And without a doubt, it had affected my parents. Without the stuff I done, and again, when I fell out and there was big headlines, particularly with the World Cup when I left United, it definitely made my parents ill, 100%. Wow. They were very ill from that stuff. So we also have a responsibility, without a doubt. I know we sit in the studio, you got to do it, but I think as long as it's a football and you're trying to stick into football, if you cross the line with your...
So Gareth's called it an unusual environment, which alludes to this idea that he feels it's unfair. He feels it's gone too far.
It is.
No, but what I'm saying to you, I'm interested in that because I genuinely do feel like Roy has said that the criticism is related to tactics, to choices, to football. I don't believe there has been. I mean, Harry Maguire, you mentioned, and Raheem were a few years ago. They're not in this squad. I don't believe we're seeing that level of criticism at this tournament against a player. I think we're seeing what would be a collective sort of idea that they're not playing well.
Gary,
but are they waiting for that at the moment? What if they get beaten on Sunday? Are they ready to pounce, you think?
You know, if you don't come... You see what happened the other day when we lost to Iceland? You're saying that they're not... Look, if people don't come out and speak against, like, seeing Saka on all of those after playing 25 minutes, all of those headlines, if you don't speak out, Gal, it's on him. Yeah. They're going for him. And that's the problem you have now. That's what's happening. That's how they do it. You know what I mean? As like Roy's saying there, and it's right, you apologise to them. I try to not say anything, like, negative about the players. I try to do it constructively because when they hear it from us, it almost gives those idiots out there the license to come even more and say, well, Roy Keane said this. That's what's happening, and it comes really on top. You saw the way it went, Gal. This is what's happening. And so they'll jump on that.
You say that, they're waiting, Gary, because when Saka missed a penalty a few years ago, listen, they're just because they're quiet at the moment, but they're waiting.
Oh no, there's a sense that ultimately I think it's almost like simmering underneath at the moment.
Yeah.
There's a feeling. I think Gareth's talking about that unusual environment being. I mean,
you can feel it, Gal.
Yeah. I think.
You know what it feels like, Gal? It feels like because it's crystallised into this tournament. It's like there's people who are waiting. You know, we're getting like what we get 14 million or whatever it was. Normally, you'll get for an England game, you get 4 million.
But Ian, where's it coming from? Joey, it's coming from. I think, hear me out here.
Okay.
I genuinely think it's coming from a good place and an idea of frustration. Not the Saka stuff, by the way. I'm talking about the general criticism of the team and the frustration that we're not playing better comes from a place of we're better than this. We can do this. It comes from. It's not coming from a maliciousness or I don't think a nastiness from everybody. I'm talking about generalising here. The population, the fans that travel over, us. We want England to win. Generally, I think that's the case. I think there is a frustration, and I think that I'm interested because Gareth's seen more than anybody, by the way. Gareth's been back to '96 when he got criticised most after missing that penalty. He's seen everything all along the way. So I'm the fact that he is saying things that I wouldn't ordinarily think. I thought he would have handled this week by saying, to be fair, this is a walk in the park compared to what I'd had to put up with back in the 90s.
Yeah. I think there's an expectation on the players, isn't it? It's like when you're a manager or a coach, you get onto them players that you want a little bit more from. But I do agree with you. It definitely shouldn't be personal. As long as you keep talking about what the players are doing on the pitch, we expect more. I think that's kind of when it should never get personal. It's football. Like, my mates used to commentate on our games, like ex-players and stuff, and they could say whatever they wanted about me. Jill had a bad game today. Jill should have been better. But as soon as the game's over, it's all right. It doesn't get personal.
But you were OK with them, were you?
Yeah, fine, because it's your job to go and play football. Absolutely. I know if you have a bad game, someone's... But not personal stuff.
Not personal. But what happens is that what you have to look at, Joe, is that even if you've got it like that, where people are trying to be constructive, and they are being constructive, it's never a problem. But when it's coming in the volumes it's coming in, it then starts to affect you because they're trying to be constructive, but it's still bringing negativity to you. And it just keeps coming in the volume. It's the volume now, is what I'm saying.
But do you think Gareth, for the first time, do you think he gets a feeling, and do you think he gets the feeling from the fans and maybe the media that they've had enough of me and my almost like he's run his cut. Do you think he feels a bit like that?
I think,
I think so.
You know, it's something about him in the interviews. Yeah. You know, because the Gareth, when you see Gareth before this tournament, and not even leading into this tournament, we maybe go back a year or whatever, you look at Gareth and his demeanour. He's very confident he comes in there. Yeah. You know, when he's speaking to people, you know, when he's looking at it was Gabriel or whatever, when he's speaking, there is an authority to what he's saying. He's believing in he's confident in he's got confidence in what he's saying. But now you're hearing him saying there's something not quite right. You could see it in his you know, when he does this kind of thing at the moment where he's speaking and he'll look down and you see him, he's kind of contemplating something else. There's something not right with him. You know what I mean? I really feel for him because I think he's taken on so much with what he's had to do as England manager and change so many different things, like culturally, politically, you know?
What do you think? Do you think there is an element of one? He's been in it a long time, and he may just be a little bit tired. Maybe. You know. But those players are playing under Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, Maurizio Pochettino. Various other managers.
Mikel Arteta.
Don't
leave out Mikel
Arteta, who I think are giving them quite sort of complex ideas on playing out from the back and how they play. Do you think there is an element of the players? I mean, and there's no doubt the players really trust Gareth and respect him and like him a lot. But do you think there is an element of them not sort of like being together for the first time from a football point of view? Together from a respect point of view, but do you think the players want a little bit more, do you think? Do you think there's an element of that?
I do understand that a bit, because when you go from club football to country, you might be opened up to this whole way of playing, like structure, patterns of play and everything. And then when they get to England, do they feel like they have that same kind of level of detail? Did you ever feel that when you went from club to country? Was there any ever frustration?
Jill, when I look back now, and obviously the biggest talking point in my time was the handling of Paul Scholes and where he should have played and the controlling of a game. That's why I'm more than ever thinking we've got to try and dominate possession with these technical players we've got. And the mishandling of players and not getting them into their best positions and not getting control of football matches and letting them flourish and giving them ideas. Because Terry Venables, the best coach I ever played under with England, did give us ideas about how to, you know, where to be, where to stand. you know, if players were pressing against us in certain ways or playing different systems, if they played with 2 up, if they played with 1 up, if they played with 1 up and 1 off, we knew what we had to do.
Yeah.
You know, so Gareth might go into midfield when he was playing with me. I might go to a third centre back or I might go to a wing back on different things. I don't think they get given these ideas. And when I look back at the England managers that we had, I don't think we got those ideas either. And that's not an excuse.
Even under Glenn Hoddle?
Yeah, but it's amazing we're talking about what... Sometimes they might need less information.
I don't know. Sure
Gary, I'm telling you.
But at United, you just
I'm not just
played,
about
didn't
United.
you?
I played at other clubs. I played at Forest. I played with the brilliant Brian Clough. Some players, when you're waiting, you're in the hotel and you're watching videos and you're analysing this. You go 3 at the back. We go with this. We play with a diamond. You throw so much information at players, and I know they get that at club level. I played with Jack Charlton with Ireland. I know it's different times. And he used to say sometimes when you come from your club, you need less. Just need less information. These are all top quality.
Do you think that's the case here, Roy?
It might be the case. Listen, again, we don't know the camps. We see a lot of club managers that are struggling, and they have meetings and they're watching videos. When you're a player, you're like, information. Sometimes you need less. These are top quality players. We talk about when clubs are struggling. Simplify it. Sometimes you have to simplify things. And people, I think some managers or coaches think players need more information. No, sometimes you need less. We've all been there as players where you're going through a difficult spell and you go, how much information can you give it? These are top-class players who've played hundreds of games. Do you think another video will make them switch on for this weekend? No, sometimes it's just bring it back a little bit, Jill. That's all. Just bring it back a little bit and don't overanalyze everything.
But when they're used to that level,
keep it simple, stupid.
But when
don't worry
they're
about
used to that level of detail at club, like I look at Foden and I'm like, Kane dropping in and Bellingham dropping into left back, and that will be frustrating the hell out of Foden. I just think it will be because he's used to Haaland holding his shape so that he can get on the ball. So I get what you're saying, less detail sometimes, especially when you're going through a rough patch. But the players that get high level of detail, Declan Rice, Phil Foden, Harry Kane, Bellingham, I think they're all struggling in this team because sometimes you look and there's 3 of them about this close together in the game, and I'm like, that will blow Foden's mind, Stone's mind, because they're not used to that.
But that can be simplified. That's the balance of your team. And that's where your senior players come into it. They lost a goal to Denmark because Harry Kane's coming back 67 yards, getting a draw. You go, the first thing you say to him, whatever, that's not up to a manager. You go, if you're a senior player, you're right. You go, Harry, get up. We can deal with a throw-in 25, 30 yards from our goal. We don't need you coming back. At that level of football, we're talking about big boy stuff here. The manager can't play the game from. These are established international players. And if you have to, you have to play the game for these lads. That's as simple. Harry, we don't need you back here.